In this video, I'm going to talk about the difference between health and fitness. Now, a lot of people use these words together to mean the same thing, but I want to explain why I think fitness has become something completely different than what most people think of when they hear the word health. This is probably the most important video that I've made so far on this channel. Pretty much the entire fitness industry is what we see on social media. More people are health conscious today than they ever were in the past. Now, the problem is that as social media has become a bigger part of our lives, we're continuing to see a decline in overall health. And it's important to consider that health is more than just the physical. Holistic health is about mind, body, and spirit. All three of these working together as part of a healthy life. And in the past, I would often do things for the sake of fitness that were not good for my health. I've been a part of this, I guess you could call it fitness culture, for 15 years now. So allow me to share some thoughts on why I think health and fitness are not the same things and why it's important to understand the difference. Back in 2016, I was super into bodybuilding. Eat, sleep, train, repeat. That was my mantra. I didn't care about much else. From the outside looking in, anyone would think that he's super into fitness, and they would be right. When I would see people focused on bodybuilding and building their physique, I would think they must be living a healthy lifestyle, because to me, health and fitness were one and the same thing. And even though I was doing all the healthy habits like eating very clean, exercising regularly, focusing on rest and recovery, I wasn't using drugs or alcohol. So I had all these positive things going on. But interestingly, I used the fact that I didn't drink or do drugs as a reason to disassociate from everyone else. Because when I was at that age, it seemed like everyone around me was just trying to party. Although I had all these positive habits, I didn't address the negative habits. Like, I was still smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I was using dating apps. I was watching adult content. Mentally, I was not doing good. I had depression, anxiety. I just wasn't confident in myself and didn't like the person who I was on the inside. But on the outside, I looked fantastic. And that's the disconnect that I see between health and fitness. Fitness is about keeping up in appearance. It's about getting attention and validation from random people on the internet. Health, on the other hand, is much deeper than keeping up in appearance or what you look like on the outside. Health is about living a certain type of lifestyle that benefits you. Sure, the appearance does matter for health, as in your appearance reflects your inner health to some extent. Like, the physical part of health, having a healthy body, is a big part of being healthy, obviously. But I took fitness to the extent that it was no longer about being physically healthy. Like, I couldn't care less about being healthy. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Before I was using social media, I remember not comparing my results to other people so much. And right around the time when I was exposed to all these like physiques and fitness influencers, that's when I started developing bigorexia, which, for those of you who don't know, that's a body dysmorphia, or pretty much thinking you look small when you don't. I would get so many compliments, both online and in person. People saying, "You're jacked. Dude, you've been working out. You look ripped." No matter how many compliments I would get, it was never enough. It was never enough to just be okay with the results that I was getting. Again, keep in mind, I was comparing myself so much to everyone else. Which, as a side note, spend a couple minutes on your explore page and take note of what you see. Do you ever see people who look like that in real life? Probably not. Like, I live in Seattle. It's not a huge city, but it's pretty big. I rarely, if ever, see anyone who looks like they do on my explore page. I was only focusing on one area of my life. And I think the reason I did that was because fitness came easy to me. Like, I have pretty good genetics. I had a passion for working out, passion for eating healthy. I saw good results. And therefore, being consistent with fitness was easy for me to do. What that did was it made me neglect the harder work, as in making sure my mental health was on point, making sure that I was following God. In 2019, I had reached an absolute peak. Like, I simply could not get any better. Couldn't build any more muscle, couldn't get any more ripped. I was doing everything right. Never missed workouts. I was eating meal prep, never hanging out with anyone. People would say, "Why don't you compete? Why don't you compete?" I thought to myself, I'm not going to compete as a natural, like it's pointless. So in the beginning of 2020, I had made a decision. Later that year, I'm going to start competing, start doing my first cycle of steroids, and we'll see where I get. We all know what happened, right? When the gyms closed, everything locked down, I wasn't able to work out anymore. I was forced to take a step back and reevaluate the way that my life was going up until that point. And it's crazy when I think about it now, how much pressure I felt to do something that was going to compromise my health, even though the health was the main goal of fitness in the first place. I had to ask myself, what is fitness? Like, what was I chasing this whole time? I was about to put my health at risk, my future at risk, because I'm not the type of person that can just do 1 or 2 cycles, dip my toe in the water, and say, that was fun, go about my life like nothing ever happened. This is where self-awareness comes into play. I am not that type of person. I'm sure that there are people out there who can just try it and be okay. But I know that once you cross that line and you use PEDs, once you use steroids, working out in the gym is never going to be the same. I know how drugs work. I don't have to have experience using steroids to know that's what happens. Because what do you think happens when you see all those crazy results in that short amount of time with minimal effort? Yes, I'm saying minimal effort, not saying that you don't have to work hard at all. But when you see those quick gains, what do you think that does to your brain? It tells you that this shortcut is available. Later, when you're not on a cycle and you're natural, it's not going to be the same. It's going to ruin working out, not to mention any of the negative health side effects. Some of you might be 18, 19, or 20 years old watching this thinking, yeah, I hear you, but thing is, like, I'm just going to focus on maxing out my physique and building up muscle and doing all this. Like, if you're in a phase where all you want to do is get jacked, like, I totally understand where you're coming from. It would be hypocritical of me to say, don't do that, because that's what I did. I think that each of us have our own journey that we have to go through. No amount of me telling you my experience or what you should do is going to change the fact that you're going to do what you're going to do. But I will say that for those of you who are like discouraged because you've been doing all the right things, eating consistently, working out, resting, doing all this for years, and you're still not anywhere close to where you want to be, or you're not close to where you think you should be, because you see all of these physiques on social media and it's hard to not compare yourself to what you see online. I would just say, man, get off the internet. Seriously, get off the internet. The only thing that was able to make me feel okay is when I started focusing on my mental health, when I started following Jesus, following God. Once I started doing those things, that's when I was finally able to be okay. Now, I'm not perfect. I still fall into the trap of like being hyper focused on my physique. Like, I started taking creatine recently and been seeing some crazy gains, and I'm like falling into that trap of being hyper focused on building my physique, building this muscle and strength again. But because I've gone through this and seen how the difference between health and fitness plays out in my own life, I can stop myself and say, remember, there's other things to life than building a physique. I hope that helps you guys out. If you want to learn more about what the real meaning of fitness is, click into this video right here. Like this video if you did like it. Let's try to get this out to as many people as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.